Happy New Year, happy 2025. Today I'm going to talk about the Alien Gear holster and my thoughts on it. And yeah, I actually like it, but we're going to get into some of the features of this holster, some of the things I don't really care about it, some things that I think that are really great that Alien Gear did for this holster. So we're going to get into it real quick. So this holster is not for a Glock, it's for a SIG 320. I actually got a new SIG last year, and I got the SIG 320 X full size. It's kind of what I wanted. I changed the grip out of it. I kind of wanted to try this this grip right here. It's okay, but that's not what we're talking about. So we're talking about the Alien Gear holster. I wanted a duty holster for the SIG, and I wanted something different besides the Safariland. So I decided to check out the Alien Gear holster. I've seen a lot of good reviews on them, and I said, you know what? I'm going to get the holster. So we're going to do this in kind of in 3 different parts. I'm going to talk about the holster, the disconnect system they have for it, and the mounting system for it. And overall, what do I think about it? So first of all, let's get into the holster, because this is the most exciting part of the whole. I really like. It's the Rapid Force holster is very rapid. So I don't have a red dot on this one yet, but it's coming soon. Sure, it's on. So one of the cool things about Rapid Force is that you can customize this holster. You have these. It comes in a bag if you order it online, and it comes with little attachments here. So if you have like larger hand, it comes with the large. But if you have like, I think this is a small. If you have really large hands, you can put the smaller one on there. I think actually this is the smaller one. The smaller one on there. If you have medium-sized hands, you can put the medium-sized grip on here. You can even put the different locking mechanism stuff on here. So this is for the hood. This is for the locking system that goes over the trigger guard. So, but you can customize it, which is kind of cool. I think that's kind of a cool feature, something that Safariland doesn't offer. I left the large on there because I just like that a little bit better. It works for me. One thing you'll notice too, it's not spring loaded. I thought this was going to be spring loaded, but if you go really slowly, you'll notice it's not. So, which I thought like the Blackhawk T-Series holsters, you press a button and it goes forward. Means it's spring loaded. This isn't. If you don't clear it, you're not going to be able to, you might not be able to clear. If you have an optic on it, you may not be able to clear get the gun cleared if you don't push it all the way. So it's not spring. So it's push. So when you push it forward, you also have to push this back, and the firearm comes out. And it's really rapid. Yeah, you're going to hear me say that a lot because it's really quick. I really like the holster. It's very simple to use over a Safariland, and it doesn't feel clunky. Where the Safariland sometimes can feel clunky. Case in point, I got my ALS holster here. You might not be able to see it with the foot, but it's almost like you have to bring this forward, and then there's the little button there. I should take the hood guard off, but I'm not going to. But it's supposed to be one motion. You're supposed to hit it like right here, bring it forward and down. Depending on how you have the holster on your belt, it can feel clunky. It can feel like in 2 steps. Push this down, bring this up. It can feel really clunky at times. I've been using the Safariland ALS since 2007, 2008 when it came out with the light bearing version. And yeah, sometimes I'm on the range and I'm in a hurry. It just feels really clunky depending on where you hit it on the hood right here. With the Rapid Force, it's very simple. You push down, back, and out. it's very fluid. I was kind of surprised how fluid it was. So it's very fluid. You can get the gun out very fast. It just feels like you can get it out faster. It's just, and maybe because it's just fluid. It's more fluid, you know, it's rapid. The other features they have on this is they do have kind of this holster also has a hood guard, a block chopper, a button guard, whatever you want to call it. And it's just, you know, it's kind of nice. It kind of protects the button, so you can't just come in and grab it. And even if you do get this out, you're not going to be able to get the gun out without pushing this down, pushing the button down, and then the ALS release or the locking release that on it. One thing to note on here, it's nothing, just something I've kind of noticed. If you're coming from a Safariland to an Alien Gear holster, is that when you do release this, right, your thumb will be down here a little bit more, where the ALS is kind of, when you come up, your thumb is kind of right there. It's nothing bad. It's just something to note. If you're coming from a Safariland to an Alien Gear holster, it's going to feel a little weird. But it's something that you're just going to have to train with. Like always, if you're going to get a new holster, doesn't matter if it's a Safariland, you get a brand new Safariland, or this your third Alien Gear holster, practice with it. Just practice with it. Make sure you have it down before you start using it. Not that I'm saying that the designs are different, but you always want to practice with your holster with the gun unloaded. Everything unloaded, no ammo around, and just draw. That's what you need to do when you get a new holster, and fine tune it. Let's talk about fine tuning this holster real quick. So Alien Gear, you know, they use the Allen wrench, but it's not the same size as a Safariland holster. So one of the things I've kind of noticed with this holster, and I've been playing around with it just to make sure, that in the directions, it really doesn't say about adjusting the, right, it talks about there's an adjustment right here. So if you really want to, you can tighten the gun down if you want to, and that's inside. I haven't needed to do that. It's fine. The one issue that I've had they don't really talk about are the screws on the back or the mold. I don't know if this is something that every person with a Rapid Force holster has. I don't know if this is something that maybe it's a different mold, but when I got it, it was really clunky getting it out. It wasn't smooth. It was very, very tight to get out. And it was kind of weird. So I ended up, if you notice, I kind of loosened these screws up, and I even loosened the screw up here, and it works fine now. There's a little resistance on it, but it's not bad. You know, I could probably loosen this up a little bit more, and it'd probably work just as fine as, but yeah, to get it to where it's at, I had to kind of fine tune the screws. And before I take this out anywhere, because I am going to practice with it, I'm going to put some extra Loctite on these screws to make sure they don't move. One thing to note too, on the inside of these holsters, is that it's almost like the 7TS series. I don't know if you could see that in there, where it has little ridges in there. I think you can see it right there. You can see the little ridges on the bottom, kind of like the 7TS holsters, where the holster's not grabbing onto the gun completely. It's just those little ridges in there. And it's open bottom, which means you don't have to modify your holsters off for debris to fall out. And yes, it will happen. Another thing I was told was that it won't fit a non-light bearing holster. I have my M18 right here, and it does fit the holster. So you can run this without a light to make it, if you notice right there, there's some large ridges. So like right in here, that's where the firearm goes. And you just make sure that the frame is in there and it doesn't move. So if you're running a Glock, you're running a Smith, you're running a SIG, and you're using something like an M18 or the full size, you could have one holster run them all. Personally, if I'm going to run the M18, I'm going to get a holster for the M18. So they do make it for the M18, so just FYI. But overall, I like the holster. Let's talk about the other accessories, the mounting system. The mounting system is interesting. One thing you'll notice, let me move all this stuff out of the way, is that, it's very simple. It locks in there. The one thing I've noticed about this holster, it moves. I don't know if you can hear that. I'll run some footage in there. That's the only thing that kind of really bothers me about this locking system. It seems pretty solid, but my theory is if you can hear yourself stuff moving on your belt, the people you're sneaking up on could hear you coming. So I'm not really into that. I don't have that issue with the ALS systems. I don't have the issues with the Blaytech mag mounts. The other kind of cool thing though is that you could run a leg strap through it, if you can kind of see. They do make several. I think they make two types of leg straps. They have their leg strap, and they have a tourniquet leg strap you can run through here, which is kind of nice. They also don't really play well with like Safariland and the Blaytech pattern, which is kind of like an industry standard. Blackhawk uses it. Comptech uses it. There's a couple other holster companies that use the Blaytech pattern. They're kind of on their own. So, but let's say you're running a Safariland drop leg and you want to go ahead and use the Safariland drop leg. You don't want to use theirs. They do make an attachment for it. And I think it's kind of cool that they're willing to do that. Hey, we're going to let you use a QLS system on our holsters, even though the whole pattern doesn't match up with Safariland or the Blaytech pattern. The one thing I did not care for this, and maybe it's just me, as I'm used to buying Safariland and being able to custom what I want, The Alien Gear holster comes with we're just going to call it the male side of the disconnect system that they have. But when it comes to the female portion, the part that it all slides into, you have to buy it completely separate. When you go to their website, they give you options and options. So you order the holster you want for the firearm. They only have 3 firearms: Glock, Smith, and SIGs. And then you can go pick out the belt loop attachment you want, which is high ride, medium, low, and then but they don't give you. They give you the option for leg straps and colors, but they don't give you an option for the other disconnect system. So when I bought the disconnect system, I had to spend $35 and buy the whole thing, and it came with a disconnect system. It would be nice if they just sat there, kind of just gave you that option to, hey, you can buy the female disconnect system with the belt attachment. That's my only complaint about it. So yeah, I had to pay an extra $35, but it was a Black Friday sale, so I was already saving money on it. So going into this, let's get into the belt attachment, because this thing's actually kind of cool. So the belt loop attachment, this is a mid ride. It comes in a low ride, comes in a high ride. This is just a mid ride, kind of what I'm used to. And you can adjust it. you have like different adjustments right here. You have it has a shim right here. So if I take this out, you can completely put this on a different belt, a 2-inch belt, a 1.5-inch belt. Then if you flip it around, you can put it on your regular battle belts, 1.175 or 1.5 belt, depending on what you're running. So it's very durable. I kind of like that because not a lot of companies have that, something that will, a shim or some type of adjuster in there that will allow you to use running on different belts. So if you buy this, their belt loop attachment, you can adjust it to any belt you have out there. You can also adjust the holster or the disconnect, reverse cant, or a forward cant, or neutral. I just leave it at neutral. Now here's the thing that, again, Alien Gear isn't really playing around. It doesn't play well with other companies, which I kind of get it. They want you to buy their own equipment. So if you like this, which is very comfortable, but you want to run a Safariland holster on it, let's say Alien Gear holsters are authorized, but the department's issuing out Safariland, and you have a class where everybody's using a Safariland holster. They make an attachment for the Safariland holster. So if you're, as a firearm instructor, I think you should know how to use the Safariland holsters. So they do make an attachment that goes on here, and you can now run the Safariland holster on your Alien Gear belt for classes and stuff like that. So if you have a bunch of new officers coming in to qualify, and they're wearing Safariland, you can make sure they're getting their ALS holsters out. They're wearing one of these holsters. You can make sure they're doing it right by showing them, by putting the attachment on the back of their belt, snapping it on there, and now you can have them run now you can show them how to use the Safariland holster, which I think is pretty cool. What are my thoughts on the Alien Gear holster? I like it. I'm not going to lie. I bought this for a SIG. I wanted something different besides a Safariland, and it hasn't disappointed. I think that this is their Gen 3. I guess their hood's a Gen 3, different type. I've seen different innovations of the holster as far as the cover goes for the red dot. I've seen other versions of the holster, but they seem to be updating their holsters regularly. I think like sometime around the summertime, I actually went to them thinking about buying an Alien Gear holster from them, and a Rapid Force holster, and they weren't available. And I was like, I thought they made them in basket weave for the Glocks, and I guess they were revamping their holsters. As of right now, their Glock holsters do accept the RMR HD and the Trijicon SRO. They said they don't for the SIGs, and they don't have anything for the Smiths. I don't know, like looking at it, I don't know if a RMR HD will fit on there, just because I doesn't look like it will. It might if it goes all the way back, but I just don't feel like ripping my RMR HD off my Glock and putting it on my SIG just to check. I might do that because I'm curious, but I kind of don't really want to. But we'll see. If I do, I'll put it in this video. So the curiosity got to me, so I took the RMR HD off my Glock and put it on my SIG. I'm going to see if it fits the Rapid Force holster, and it doesn't. It won't lock up. It only goes to about right there, as you can see. So the Rapid Force holster doesn't work with the RMR HD or the SRO. But it just seems like it fits all the lights out there, even the new Foxtrots. It seems like they're doing a lot of innovation. There's a couple of their if you go to their website, they have their professional series, and they have some level 2 holsters. Level 3 being they have the hood. Level 2 is that they just have the quick release. I'm thinking about getting one of those for my one for my M18 and one for one of my Glocks, since I'm switching lights. Seems like I'm switching lights a lot, so I'm going to a Streamlight to a Surefire. Anyways, and back to a Streamlight, but it's all in all, I like the Alien Gear Rapid Force holster. If it was authorized by my department for the Glock, I would get one. I think it's fast, it's rapid. It doesn't feel clunky when you're drawing. It feels very smooth. Again, you have to practice with it. The only way I got my holster to feel not as clunky on my Safariland was kind of, I put the tech mount system on there, and I kind of have a slight reverse cant, and it almost feels fail proof, but with this, it just feels smoother. It just doesn't feel clunky at times. There are times that, again, you're going to have to practice where it doesn't feel like I hit this, but you have to make sure you press down and back. And practice makes perfect. And the more I practice with it, the more I feel more comfortable with it, the more it just feels a lot faster than the Safariland holsters. Is it a Safariland killer? No, it's not a Safariland killer. It's not. Safariland's been around for years. It's trusted by a lot of departments. I'll still run a Safariland. I like my Safariland holsters, but this is a really nice holster. And yes, if it was authorized by my department, I would switch over. I don't know if I would use the Alien Gear disconnect just because it rattles. I don't really like that. Blade Tech does make something for their tech mount, so I'd probably end up using something like that, or just use a QLS system. I do think that their belt mounts are really comfortable. The one when I'm running them, time will tell if it gets authorized to use by my department. Yeah, I'd go out and buy one. It's a nice holster. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope everyone's having a good 2025, and I'll see you in the next video. Be safe out there.